you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. So welcome to Elegant Conversation with Jacqueline Valdez. Our next guest that we have is Allison Sipes, and she is a pole dancer. She is the CEO of Florida Pole Fitness Championship and Dance Filthy, and then also went viral for being a pregnant pole dancer.
That is correct.
So, yeah.
I was not the first to go viral pregnant pole dancing, but certainly not the last.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was 2 years ago. My
Wow.
daughter is almost 2.5. It's crazy
Oh my gosh. Time
how
goes by so
fast
fast.
time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let the viewers know a little bit about yourself.
So my name's Allison. I have been pole dancing since 2005, which is a very long time.
Time goes
And
by really fast.
yeah, it's been really cool to see how much the industry has changed and
Mhm.
the media and mainstream's perception towards it since I started
Yes.
to now. But yeah, I started in a studio in Orlando, Florida. That's
Okay.
no longer open, but yeah. And then after a few classes, I started teaching, and
Right.
then I bought a pole for my house and started learning through YouTube videos. And I was following people like Felix Kane and
Right.
Janine Butterfly and Carol Helms and Leanne Riley
Very
and
cool.
yeah, all these
Some
people
pretty
back
big names
then.
in the pole industry.
Big names. Yeah, these
Yeah.
are back in the day people. And
Yeah.
I realized then that I was a visual learner. So I was able to watch their videos and try to, take my dance and gymnastics background and
Yes.
figure out how to do it. And
Okay.
then I started competing in 2009. I was in
Wow.
the East Coast US PDF Championship. And then I competed with them, I think 4 times total.
Wow.
Two was amateur, and then 2 were professional. So I got my pro card the
Right.
second time I competed.
Wow.
And then after that, I started getting into aerials, and found that it was a great way to cross train. And it
Yeah.
was very similar in a lot of ways to pole, but very different too.
Right.
And so I got into that. And then I think it was 2012, I started the Florida Pole Fitness Championship. And
Okay.
with the help of X Pole, I was able to put on one of the first pole fitness championships in Florida at the time.
Wow. That's so
And
exciting. Yeah. So most
yeah, it
some
was,
people might not know, but in the pole industry, there's competitions that are worldwide, and there's different divisions, different levels, and X Pole is actually the leading supplier for fitness equipment, fitness aerial equipment.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they were a huge sponsor for that first year. And then after that, I just kept going with it and realized that there was a lot of talented people in Florida and in like the Southeast, but
Yeah.
there were very few and far between competitions at that time, back in
Okay.
2012. Okay.
Right.
And it was really expensive to travel to places like New York or LA or wherever
Hmm.
these big competitions were happening. And so we sold out the first year and they had to change venues because we reached capacity. Then we moved to a
Very
big
cool.
theater, and then I had requests for people to do a showcase. So then I started the Florida Pole and Aerial Art Showcase, and we did that for
Right.
about 4 years. Um,
Yeah, and that was
and
exciting because you gave people an opportunity who wanted to perform but were scared to perform and compete, and so they could actually just still get on the stage, still get a taste of it, but not have to have the strict rules and the frightening part of competing.
yeah, but they were
Yeah,
able to get professional pictures and video.
yeah,
So it
yeah,
was like the total package of competing but not being scored.
yes, yes. And
So
it's
I did that.
exciting because I was in both shows. I was in
Yes,
your
you
first
were.
Florida poll, and then I was also in the showcase too. So it was a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Yeah, you've been in Florida Pole a few times,
Yeah.
taking home some hardware. So cool.
Yeah, definitely.
But then I was approached by Michelle Shimmy in
Uh-huh.
2015 to produce Dance Filthy here in America. So Dance Filthy is a franchise started in
Okay.
Sydney, Australia, and so I started that, and this would have been our 5th year.
Wow.
However, coronavirus.
Right.
And I
Rona.
just didn't feel that those kind of events were the same to do
Yeah.
virtually. I understand that there's a
Yeah.
lot of competitions now that are going virtual, and that's great, but
It's
yeah,
hard.
I really feel like it needs to be in person, and when we feel like we can safely do that, then
Yeah.
we'll definitely do them again.
Okay. Yeah. Because I feel like the energy changes once
It
you're in
does.
person. It's just you feed off each other. It's just so sexy and raw and
Yeah,
just,
when
yeah.
you're on stage, it's like
Yeah.
you hear the audience and they're cheering for
Yeah.
you and they're clapping, and
Yeah.
it's such a energy exchange that cannot be duplicated
Yeah.
through a screen
That's true.
like that.
That's so true. So do you have a tip that you could give someone who is wanting to compete or is new, I guess, to the industry and wanting to get some performance into them?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first I would say start small, right? And
Okay.
start with your studio showcases if you attend a studio, because
Okay.
that is a good environment to get your feet wet. Again, a showcase,
Right.
not a competition, because you will be performing in front of your peers, your instructors, your close family and
Yeah.
friends, and you'll be able to get that adrenaline and that feeling of performing in front of people without having to be judged. So I
Right.
would start with that. And then I would research all of the competitions that you're interested in doing. And this means reading
Okay.
all of the rules, like all of them,
Yes.
making sure you
Read the
understand
rules.
what they mean, because, truth is, a lot of times winning a competition isn't about being the best, but who followed
Yeah.
the rules,
Yeah.
right? And who did all the
Yeah.
things that were asked of or not asked of.
True.
And checking all those boxes. So pick a
Okay.
competition that you feel matches with your style. So
Okay.
I wouldn't tell someone who is more athletic or fitness based to do a Dance Filthy, because
Right.
Dance Filthy is more performance based and it is very, very risque. And
Okay.
it is some of the same movements, but not done in the same fashion and wouldn't be
Okay.
scored the same way. So
Interesting.
a
Okay.
competition such as like Pole Sport,
Right.
they've got a list of moves that you have to do. You must do them. And within
Right.
those parameters, you have to hold them for a certain amount of time. Your toes have to be pointed, or, whatever the
Right.
conditions are. So I would
Okay.
pick a competition that matches your style, because you're going to score better. And make sure
Okay.
you understand the rules and what the competition's looking for. If it's a competition that has been around for a while, I would
Right.
look at some of their past videos, maybe look and see who their past winners were,
That's good.
and maybe ask
Yeah.
around some feedback. If anyone has
Yeah.
attended or competed, what was your experience? And it'll be
Okay.
across the board, but if it's a bad event overall, you're going to hear about it, right?
Yeah. That's
Or
very
if it's a
true.
good event, you'll hear about it. The events
That's
that
very true.
are great, I think,
Yeah.
are few and far between, but
That's
maybe
so
that's
true.
just
And what does it take? Because you do put on really good events.
I
What
do.
does it
I
take to do
have
that?
I have put on over 20 events since I
Wow.
started in 2012.
Wow.
A few of them were collaborations with other organizations like the U.S. Pole Sports Federation
Right.
and Pole Sport Organization, two separate ones.
Okay.
But I will say that you need to have a plan as far as your, like, gosh, there's so many. Where to start? Start 6 months in advance or a year,
Okay.
because you're
Okay.
going to need about that much time to get the word out about it, put the
Sure.
deposits down on the venue, get your insurance, make a program if you're going to have that, digital or not, any
Right.
merchandise that you need printed or made. And then if it's like a competition or some kind of event where people are being scored, you need to give them enough time to train to make their submission or
Right.
application, and
Okay.
then enough time to train their routine. I
Wow.
like to give people about 2.5 months from the closing date of the application to
Right.
competition day. It's been as short as a month, but
Wow.
that was for Dance Filthy, where there were no movement requirements. Like, it wasn't like,
Yeah.
I need you to
It's
do
totally
3
different.
spins and 5 of this. No, it was tell a story. They had to submit their
Right.
concept first, and then
Okay.
it needed to be sexual. Like, And there were parameters with that too, like,
Right.
you know, no sex toys, and you couldn't like simulate having sex with someone. Like there was,
Right.
you know, lines that were
No
drawn,
rules.
because I
Yeah.
did want some art to it. I didn't want people to just run around with a bunch of dildos and think that
Yeah.
that's what you had to do to
There
win.
has to be some class.
Yeah, there's other events for that. That's cool.
Yeah.
But this is not the one. But yeah, and you need to get your money up front. Like putting on a competition is an investment,
Good
and
point. Yeah.
financially, like you have to consider all of these things. Like you have to put down the deposit for the venue, which could range anywhere between a few hundred to a few thousand, depending on where and how many square feet or whatever.
Right.
Your poles, how are you going to put those up? Are you going to use stage
Yeah.
poles? Are you going to get a truss system? If you get a truss system, where are you going to get it from? Have they rigged poles before? Do they
You
know
have to be safe.
what kind of design you need? There's so many things. And then if you're going to do a competition, then you got to figure out what your rules are going to be, right? What kind of a competition are you going to have? How are you going to be different than what's already out there?
That's
you know,
true.
Now,
There's
almost
so many
9 years
popping
later,
up now.
there are so many opportunities now. And I have noticed that the market is very saturated. And so you have to get really creative with your competition. And you need to have judges that are respected in the community or are skilled in their craft. Now, I will say for Dance Filthy, I had 1 year I had a guy, his name is Scott Soldo. He is one of the main singers in the Supervillains group. And so although he does not have any pole dancing experience, his wife, Bree, owns a pole studio here in Orlando called Dandelion. So he's familiar with pole. But I thought for Dance Filthy, it would be a good perspective because it's a sexy competition, right?
Yeah.
And I've got 2 girls already, but now I need a guy's perspective. You know, who would you want to see dance again, right? Who would you pay money to watch perform for you, right? So I kind of wanted that. But my other competitions, Florida Pole, I would do more people in the industry. One of the things that I like to do is I take my winner from the previous year and have them be one of the judges. And then I like to find other people from around the country or around the world, because I'm in Orlando. Sometimes I can get an international person. And I have them.
Yeah. So how have you seen the industry change since when you first started?
Well, there's a lot more events, which is good.
Yeah.
There are a lot more mainstream opportunities to see pole. For example, the Hustlers movie, that new show P Valley on Stars, J-Lo at the Super Bowl. So it's becoming more prevalent in the public media than it was when I first started. And so because of that, it's not where it used to be where you tell someone that you're doing pole dancing and they're like, you know, it's so taboo. Now it's like, oh, my friends tried that, or oh, I saw that on Super Bowl halftime, or oh, I heard of that on Oprah. So it's the response to it now isn't as shocking as it may have been 15 years ago. So that's definitely changed. The fact that children are involved now is like a crazy thing. When I first started, it was just exotic dancers and a few people like me that were rogue and just fell into it and was like fascinated by it. And it can be so many things now. I've seen pole evolve from so many things. You know, when I first started, it was heavily influenced by the sex work industry and strippers, and the style was very, you know, you'd wear string bikinis or nothing at all and these like huge platform shoes, and you know, there was a handful of tricks that you could do, but mostly it was just like entertaining, right?
And now there's kids and children, and
more dance and fitness-based people got involved, and it became way more athletic, and the tricks went from like a basic inversion butterfly handspring thing to like fongies and backflips and jumping from pole to pole and like multiple people on a pole and pole doubles and
super extreme.
And it's been cool to see a sport like that from its infancy to now be this thing. And it's still very niche, and it's still a very small industry. And I hate to say it, but I honestly feel like it's a trend, and it will it'll still be around forever. But like CrossFit and Zumba and some of these other fitness activities that have like really had their heyday, I feel like we're kind of capping out because there are so many events and there are so many things and opportunities now that it's, I mean, there's only so many people that are going to want to learn how to pole dance, right?
Yeah.
So
that's true. So how have you been keeping yourself busy during this whole lockdown with everything going on? How has that affected you?
Yeah, well, being in Orlando, Florida, in one of the epicenters has been a real challenge. You know, we had our gyms closed for a few months and some of them have closed permanently, unfortunately. And, you know, I have 6 poles in my garage because of all these events that I have, right? But I have nowhere to put them up in my townhouse. So it's been torture. So for the first like few months, I did nothing and it sucked. But now the gyms are open again. So I've been teaching 1 class a week at Vixen Fitness on Wednesdays at 11. And I go live every Wednesday at around like 11:45 just for like the run through, like the end of class stuff. And then I put the full routine up on Instagram and YouTube. And then I've been doing privates at people's homes and then also in different studios. And then I've been driving to Stuart, Florida to go to Twisted Aerial Fitness owned by Jacqueline Scott. And then
so you've definitely been keeping yourself busy.
Yeah, now that things have opened again, even though the numbers are still high.
Yeah,
I've been
I know.
busier now than I was before, and I'm making way more money. I've also done a couple instructor trainings. I did an aerial hoop one at Twisted Flight Fitness, and then I did a spin pole one at Bliss Fitness Studio.
Nice. So, yeah. So then you also went viral during your pregnancy.
Oh my God. Okay. So that was crazy. You know, I was very curious to see how my body would react with pole dance. And I had a lot of morning sickness, but it was all day, almost the whole time. But it got better towards the end, and I just listened to my body and made sure that I wasn't doing anything new or anything that I felt was going to put me at risk. I was only doing skills that I have been doing for over a decade. And the further along I got, the less I was able to invert and do these crazy tricks. But yeah, my baby was upside down, head up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I tried everything that I could to get her to flip, and it didn't. Like, I tried everything. So I ended up having a C-section. Do you have any tips that you could give anyone that is pregnant and wanting to continue pole dancing? Or they're worried that they can't pole dance if they're pregnant? I get this question all the time. People message me that are pregnant or just found out or, you know, whatever. And I will say, if you have not done pole dance prior to pregnancy, don't do it now. Like, don't try anything new. It is not recommended. If you have been doing pole for, I want to say, more than 6 months to a year consistently, I'd say continue at your current level. But do not increase your intensity. Do not try tricks that you haven't done before, and nothing that requires a spot. And make sure that you're clear with your doctor about like the activities that you're doing. My doctor was very open to it. She's familiar with aerial arts, and I showed her a few videos in one of my appointments, and she was like, as long as you feel safe, you know, keep going. She was very supportive. I did not do anything that I felt at any time was putting me at risk. I, you know, stretched and warmed up before and after. And honestly, I got to tell you guys, like, Instagram versus reality, right? Here's some reality. I would teach my class. I would get another student or an assistant instructor to demonstrate the parts that I couldn't. And then the clips that I put up on the internet was literally 5 to maybe 10 minutes worth of me doing any activity on the pole. It was not me training for an hour or even 20 minutes straight. It was, let me see how many spins, or let me see if I can climb, or let me see, it was all those videos where let me see if I can do this still, or let me see if I feel like, I was always looking for that time where it was like, oh, this is too much, or, oh, I really shouldn't, or, oh, I can't. And
you really listen to your body.
Yeah. And I feel like my 13 years at that time of experience and being really active the whole time and eating well and, you know, just taking breaks when I needed to was the best. And the fact that I had a C-section, I mean, it wasn't great at first, but looking back, it was really good.
Wow.
I totally skipped labor altogether. It was scheduled.
Wow.
I didn't go into labor early, and I had a good night's sleep the night before, and I went into the hospital at 10 in the morning, and the baby was born by noon, 12:15, and I mean, the recovery was challenging for sure. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
like, my body is 100% different. So some more advice is be kind to yourself, because whether you've had a natural or a C-section type birth, like, your body is not ever going to be the same, and that's okay. You created and birthed a human, and you really need to be forgiving on what you think you should be able to do versus what you can do. And it has been a very humbling experience. And I also highly recommend anyone who has a child to get pelvic floor physical therapy after. It is not talked about enough with OBs because it's not their scope. But for anyone that is really active and likes to do aerial activities, go upside down or anything like that, you do anything more than just sitting, definitely seek one out. And all you should have to do is at your 6-week appointment or whatever, you ask your OB for a referral. And that was the most beneficial for me, because I did all kinds of exercises with her, the therapist, that I wouldn't have done before. She did lots of treatment that I wouldn't have done. We did electroacupuncture. She did myofascial release, massage therapy. We did ultrasound. We worked with a Pilates reformer. She had me do these breathing exercises. I mean, it was a whole slew of things.
So you can come back after having a baby.
And so when I did come back, right, everyone that had seen me was like, oh, wow, you know, you bounced right back. You got right back into it. And it's like, yeah, but I didn't, though. Like, you worked hard. 6 weeks, I was not there. Like, there was no way. Like, so at my 6-week appointment, I knew that I needed therapy. And I'm so glad that I did that. So listen to your body, open communication with your doctor. You know, be kind, be gentle to yourself. Don't have high expectations. You know, now is the time to really take care of yourself. And afterwards, get pelvic floor therapy. You should not be peeing yourself when you laugh or cough or do jumping jacks. Like, it's not normal. Some people need surgery for that. And, you know, for some people, unfortunately, it's never fixed, but there are ways to fix that. So pelvic floor therapy, I cannot stress it enough. But but yes, if you've been pole dancing before, you know, it's okay. Just listen to your body.
Yeah, so true. I could talk to you forever. So we're also good friends from years ago. So I'm super excited to have you here. What do you want to be remembered for?
That I am able to inspire people to try something that they never thought they could do, and that it transforms their life in more ways than they think that it ever could have been.
I love it.
So,
yeah. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. Everyone watching, thank you. Please follow me on Instagram and YouTube.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Love you.
I love you.